Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. It's been a while since I made a video. I'm struggling to make videos for various reasons, scheduling largely, and I'm going to start going back into work. I got my my guests here today, of course. Mocha, looking out the window. No, I'm not looking out the... And Kaja, two kitties. Anyway, so I guess here I'm to do a review of the Black Belt Eagle Scout concert that I saw at the Cedar Cultural Center last Friday, April 7th, and I picked up the new record, The Land, the Sky, the Water, the Sky. So Black Belt Eagle Scout, I've talked about them a little bit over the last few months because this album came out. I've talked about them previously, way back, but most people probably don't know. I mean, if you look, do a search or something, you might. But here's the new record I picked up. As it is, as far as like anything that's come out this year, it's still my number one record. You know, I like it. I like it a fair amount. I like the guitar tones on this record. I like, you know, the segues and stuff like that. Got some neighbors walking by. I don't know what they're looking at exactly, but kids getting out of school, of course. Wow, this is an interesting vinyl. It's like the sticker, of course, on this vinyl. So I'm sort of doing an album/concert review. This is what it says. Catherine Paul has channeled the feeling of being held. In every note, she has written a love letter to indigenous strength and healing from Sasha LaPointe. Yeah. Yeah, because she is indigenous or native or whatever you want to call it. I've known her, though. It's like the short, as short as possible story about... I've known about her music for about 11 years now, I think it was. Or maybe it was like about 10 years ago. I discovered her band, Forest Park, and they had an EP or something before their I think it was a self-titled EP, and it was a digital only. The song Golden is so good. And then Forest Park might be a part of Portland, Oregon, or that area of the Northwest. Anyway, that thing didn't... By the time I got wind of them, it was already like a band wasn't around anymore. And then she joined a band called Genders, and I've got a couple of their CDs, a CD and like an EP. The CD is pretty good. It came out like a couple of years later, like 2013 actually, 2013 or 2014. Anyway, and I saw them live here twice. Once at the Kitty Cat Club. They opened for Built to Spill at First Avenue the next night. And the Kitty Cat Club was just like very intimate because there were other people there, and they were headline, but whatever. And then I saw them a couple of years later at the Turf Club in St. Paul. I remember we were talking at those shows about how we both love Warpaint, and Warpaint I can hear a lot of it. At least I can hear an influence from her. But so then she formed. I don't know what happened with Genders exactly. They just decided to do other projects. One of the lead singer, which I'm getting I asked her about the other night, was in a band that opened for the Family Crest. So the connection with that is that one of the members of her now touring band and also the opener, Claire, I forget her last name, is still part of the band Mother Falcon, Chamber Rock, and from that era. Well, Mother Falcon's from Texas. But the Family Crest opened for them. That's how I discovered the Family Crest at the 7th Street Entry back in 2014. I'd never heard of Family Crest, but I knew Mother Falcon from working at KFAI and volunteered there, and we got their CDs and stuff. What is her... But she opened with... she changed her name. Puckett. I think her name was Claire Puckett and then she goes by a different name now. Because it doesn't say on the... It doesn't say Black Belt. It doesn't say actually on setlist.fm. Claire Glass. So I don't know, going that name. Whatever. She opened Claire Glass at the show. She's part of this band. So like the connection with Mother Falcon and Family Crest and Catherine Paul. So she did, anyway, going back to the story of her origin, so then she did release her first album, I believe, under Black Belt Eagle Scout, like in 2014, and I've never heard it even. It was like a demo or whatever, but then the record that I got into when I discovered it, that, the gender stuff wasn't happening anymore, Mother of My Children was 2018. So it wasn't that long ago. It was only 5 years ago. It seems like it's been a little longer. But that record came out. I got it on vinyl. Liked it. It's very kind of... It differs somewhat from Forest Park and Genders. And Genders, she's not the lead singer. She actually plays drum. She played drums with Genders. But with Black Belt Eagle Scout, she's the primary songwriter. And she's the singer and the guitarist. Or one of the guitarists, at least. But... Her backing band is live is Claire Glass or Claire. Oh, there's probably the download code, and then this Adobo. This person, I'm not sure if. Anyway, Adobo, and then she has a drummer, but yeah, this is the download anyway. So this is, but then she put out another album after the Mother of My Children, 2018 and 2019, at the Party with My Brown Friends. And then this is the new album that came out a few months ago, The Land, the Water, the Sky, is the third or fourth full length. And I don't know if I'd say this is my favorite among her records, but I guess stylistically, like Forest Park was like post-rock and very ambient, and they used trumpets, but a lot of dreamy vocals. Dream pop, dream rock, atmospheric. A little bit of slowcore. There's a little bit of a Mazzy Star element on this, which I'm hardly would say that I'm much of a Mazzy Star fan, but I like her. Her voice is very kind of subtle and almost hypnotic at points, but the guitar textures are just so good on this album. On all her records, I think, if I remember correctly, some of the stuff on Mother of My Children, she was bringing back some of the horns and the trumpets on, which I really missed a little bit on Genders. I mean, they're all different entities, but I'm just some of the kind of stuff in her music. Now, this album is most influenced, supposedly she was influenced by kind of going back to her genetics, her family roots, you know, indigenous. Musically, I can hear that, but I just also kind of get like a lot of flow, a lot of, you know, hypnotic, kind of dreamy, almost, what's the word? Inertia in the flow of the guitar textures and the way the songs kind of go back and forth. My favorites on this record, just having heard it maybe, whatever it's been, 9-10 times, Nobody and Blue are probably my, you know, the last song, Don't Give Up. So now transitioning to the actual concert. So this is like, yeah, I'm looking at this. I just opened it. I think her band, I think the music on here and her music in general works even better live. I mean, not that this is, I like this a lot, but I think it was taken to another level live because she gets to kind of, I don't want to say improvise, but kind of bring more energy and more presence, more emotion in some ways to it. It was great. I mean, she was the headliner because you had Claire Glass opening, first playing acoustic guitar, and then Adobo, I'm not sure what she also goes by another name. Because I don't like on Rate Your Music. Yeah, I mean Black Belt Eagle Scout, at least up until the point of this record and even before the tour, for all intents and purposes, is Catherine Paul, or KP as she goes by. But I don't know if this is going to become like a full entity band, like a Neil Morse thing, or ours. Many cases of you have the band in the name of a person. Now, I suppose Catherine Paul or KP could release music of a different style under her own name that was just her. You know, the credits on this record, I haven't looked at it. Saddle Creek, who played on it. Nicholas Wilbur, I believe, has worked with her multiple times. I mean, some of the other records. Doesn't really talk much about it. But anyway, but the show, I mean, Adobo was interesting. She had her own little set of like 30 minutes, I don't know how long it was. And it was like a lot of guitar texture. She was using sustained pedals. It was just her. Well, she played on Claire Glass's last track. Claire Glass was playing really clean acoustic guitar. But when Adobo came on stage, she meant Adobo. I don't know if it's they. Adobo mentioned how Claire like taught her everything she knew, or basically maybe she took guitar lessons. I don't know. Maybe Adobo was a fan of Mother Falcon or whatever else. But Claire Glass, Puckett or whatever, used to live in Texas with the Mother Falcon people. But then she moved to Portland in the last few years, where Black Belt Eagle Scout is based in Catherine Paul. And Anyway, but yeah, I mean, she from a set list standpoint, people that know, and Black Belt Eagle Scout with this record, I think specifically, is started to kind of get a little bit of a following. I mean, I'm really happy to see that. I've known that Catherine Paul is a brilliant multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter, musician. Just looking at her track record with those other projects, with Forest Park, with Genders. I mean, in fact, she's playing drums in Genders and doing harmonies, and then I don't know if she does the lead singer, but she did a lot of stuff also with Forest Park, and now she does this. Doesn't really surprise me. Typhoon's the other connection, because the band Typhoon's this large ensemble, these chamber bands like Mother Falcon. In Portland, they're from Portland, Oregon. Of course, they put out that great EP last year. They've had some of my favorite records over the last decade. Typhoon, she knows like Kyle Morton, some of the members of Typhoon, and like at one point they worked at the same place. And one of the bands, when they went between the two of them, if they went on tour with their band, the other couldn't like take time off and do the same thing with their band, because they like, I know that's what Catherine told me years ago. So there's connections between a lot of those bands in Portland, but specifically I would say Typhoon, and now you'd add Mother Falcon and Family Crest with but musically her music is not chamber rock exactly like Typhoon or Family Crest. It's really more hypnotic, almost dream pop, but it's like atmospheric. It's not even that poppy. It's really, those guitar textures are like David Gilmour, kind of just it's hypnotic, and it's why this record really works for me. And some other stuff coming up, of course. Hotel Laughing Tree thing is going to be in the works. If I have the time in the next few weeks, maybe the week of, I'm going to have to sit down in front of the camera here and do a proper review. So, but yeah, big thumbs up on that show. I was just looking at the set list, and she did most of this record. She was telling stories. She did some of the older songs. The last record, I hate to say it, I'm guilty of it. I remember listening to it, but I don't remember any favorites off the top of my head. It was 2019 at the party with my brown friends, but Mother of My Children, I remember when it came out, I was like, yeah, I like this. Is very atmospheric. Like, and she's a fan of like Agalock. Agalock is based in the Pacific Northwest. I remember talking to her about that at one point. So, anyway, I was just gonna a few more additional notes along with the Black Belt Eagle Scout stuff. Let's look at the back of the record again. This blue, what is it? Blue? I'm too busy trying to describe everything. Yeah, it's like a blue. No, it's just black. It's a standard black. Anyway. So a couple announcements. Dream the Electric Sleep finally announced that their new solo, the new full-length record, American Mystic, is released on July 14th. I don't know if I'll put an image up here or not, but that's coming out. The little teaser is really cool. Along with that, Matt Page from Dream the Electric Sleep, who pretty much kind of is, he's the main driving force behind that band. So they're like a trio from Kentucky, I think it is, Louisville, somewhere in that area, in sort of the middle of the country. He has a solo album also in the works. So we're gonna get, if you're a Dream the Electric Sleep fan, and they're a niche band, they've caught a little bit of a following. My favorite still is the Heretics. We get both the Matt Page solo album and this new record, American Mystic, on July 14th. The solo album will be coming probably in the fall, I guess. And then, I'd mentioned it one or two times before, posted on social media, of course, we get the Guess Who. The Guess Who put out a single back in February. The Jellyfish fan base on Facebook shared it. And it didn't sound anything like the Guess Who stuff that I know, Your American Woman, they had their share of hits, but very power pop-ish, the song The King. Well, the album's called Delane Amour, I think it is. I didn't even and it's kind of like a very independent release. And as far as the Guess Who, I don't know if Bert Cummings might still be with them, but Randy Bachman's not. Burton Cummings, no, he's not with them anymore either. That's one thing that I'm completely guilty of. Plain D'Amour, yeah. It's coming out on June 30th, finally, the full-length record. But the title track was released, it was like a few days ago. It's a video, and there's a video for The King, too. The King has received like 50,000 plus streams on Spotify, and it's hard to believe the song is that good. I mean, it's hard to believe it's actually the Guess Who in some ways. but it could be a case of a retro legacy band from 50 plus years ago, classic rock band putting out new music that actually sounds fresh, even though it has its roots and still sounds from its era in some ways. The production is great. It's a little bit like the way Good Times from the Monkees sounded. Well, that sounded like the Monkees, but it sounded updated for today in some ways. This sounds very power pop. It's more like Queen or Jellyfish or something like that. But Plain D'Amour, Plein D comma Damur Amour, and they're actually going on tour. I'm sure they play the circuit, especially like the county fairs, and the casinos and stuff like that. And they're playing at a theater in Duluth at the end of June, on June 30th, the day of the release actually of this new album. And they're playing in October up in central Minnesota at Mille Lacs. I don't know if they're going to confirm a date in the Twin Cities at one of the casinos here or like a theater or something, but I don't know. The King, I really like. The title track was put up, like I said, a few days ago. I just listened to it today, and it sounds actually almost more like hair metal-y. Parts of it did, but I'm just, not... I'd have to, like, go onto Wikipedia here to really see... I don't know if it's a case of... It's like, yes, but where there's no original members, and even the members that have been in for a while aren't even... Let's see. Yeah, Gary Peterson, Leonard Shaw, Derek Sharp, Michael Devin, and Michael Steyertow. I don't know the history. Like I said, I know a lot of their radio hits, their standards. But it's just. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing them, but I don't. I guess it's maybe contingent on how great this record is. I think it's a little bit of a sleeper. They had that from 69 to 76, and then they just kind of, the post-Burton Cummings left. I don't know, and the thing is, they belong in the Rock Hall, and that whole thing with, Randy Bachman had Bachman Turn Rotor Drive and had a bunch of hits, and why aren't the Guess Who in the Rock Hall? I guess I saw something on YouTube, it was like 6 months ago, saying they're never going to get in the Rock Hall for various reasons. They don't have a relationship with the people at the Rock Hall, and they may have, I don't know. Anyway... But that being said, this new album of theirs, Plain D'Amour, I'm certainly looking forward to still, because that track, The King, if you haven't heard it, check it out if you like, especially if you like, your Beach Boys, your power pop, your ELO, your Badfinger. It's in that vein, and Queen, Jellyfish. It's in that kind of very catchy pop. I mean, if their whole record was like that, even though it doesn't sound like the Guess Who of the 70s and late 60s, doesn't matter. Good music is good music. So, the other stuff is coming in the works. Again, I haven't been able to do a lot, and I want to go into work. And I actually need to pick up my hat, because I left it at the concert. I have an A&W hat. So, but thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We'll see you next time.